Morning, everybody. Just working here. Was looking around and I realized that it was a year ago that I did my bug out bag. Had gotten here in the mail and I started putting stuff in it. And it has been a full year. Well, it'll be a full year on Tuesday since I put that video up. So let's just see how, after a full year of use and sometimes abuse, how this bag held up. So let's get into it, see what's in there, and then see what kind of condition the bag is in. So here's the bag that I got. This one here. I got it off eBay. Let me see if I can find the tag here. And there it is. It is an Explorer pack that I got off of eBay. So I guess first of all, let's take everything out of it and see what I got in it. See how the things in there held up. So here in this top pouch on the front, this is my fire kit, where I kept all of my stuff for making fires. So here's everything I had in that front pouch. It fit in this front top one. That was my go-to easy access fire kit. These here are some Vaseline soaked cotton balls that I made, probably 9 or 10 months ago, maybe a little bit longer. We might have to make a new video on how to make those. Here is one of those foldable little camp stoves, just for warming stuff up. It folds up into just a little box. Cost me a couple of bucks. I think I got it on eBay for $2 or $3. But to set it up, all you do is pull these things up, and then it makes a handy little stove right there. And I've used it a few times, that's why it's so dirty. That is one of the things you need to know about these Vaseline soaked cotton balls, is when you burn them, they make a lot of soot. That stuff gets all kind of greasy and caked on there, but it works really, really well. I put one of these balls in there and lit it, and it was on like a cold night where I was out on a job site and I wanted some coffee to kind of give me a little boost. So I took my canteen cup, fits perfectly on top of there, and then just light one of these little balls underneath it, and it'll burn for a good 8 to 12 minutes on just one cotton ball. It was definitely enough to heat the water up from being cold, and it brought it to a boil so that I could make some coffee. And we also have these little fire blocks here. I don't know much about them. My dad gave them to me. He said, hey, I got some of these extra little things here that are fire starters. I guess all you do is you take this and you set it underneath whatever you're wanting to burn, and you just burn the package, or I'm sure you could open it up and I guess they'll burn. Then I've got one of these little lighters here. You pull out this top piece here and it brings out a reusable match, and then the canister itself you just put Roncinol or lighter fluid in, and then there is on the side your little ferro rod, and this match has a steel striker in it so that when you scratch it down there, it makes a spark and will light it. And then the match itself has a wick. Now these things do have a limited use. You can replace the wick in them to use it more, but I think I got maybe just 3 or 4 uses out of one, and then the wick was all burned up. So there's those, and also this little keychain deal that's on the side of them is not very durable at all. That little hook that's right there, it snapped early on. So yeah, it serves the purpose for just having like this. I kept it wrapped up so it wouldn't leak or anything, but it does have a little O-ring in there so that it doesn't leak. But just for some added protection, I left it in I put it back in the little bag that it came in. This just one of the little midget lighters. Keep that in there. These are waterproof matches that I also got off eBay for like $1. They come in like this little prescription bottle looking kind of thing, just to keep them dry and keep them from breaking and rattling around and all. And then it has the striker pad there on the side just to light those. I also found a little pocket chainsaw thing. I haven't actually tested this, but again, it was just $1 on eBay, so I ordered it. I heard that they aren't useful for much, but it doesn't really weigh anything and it packs down really small. So figured why not throw it in there just in case. Then I also have one of these trail rods. It's got your magnesium on the outside here, and then your little striker bar there to start it. I got this for, it was like $1 or $2 on eBay, and then it comes with your little scraper attached to it so that you can't lose it. It does have different surfaces. You got a flat surface here, and then a grooved surface there to be able to get some more oomph behind your scraping. These here, stormproof matches. These I got off of, I got from Walmart. They were $2 or $3. They came with 2 of these boxes, and these things are awesome. I'll have to do a separate video on these so that you guys can see how it works. Windproof and waterproof, and they are not joking. So I'll probably make another little side video on those. These have been in there for a good 7-8 months, and the box is a little scratched up, but for the most part it's survived. I also have one of these old cheap magnesium rods that are magnesium blocks. This bar used to be down in here, but over time, after messing with it and then it rattling around in my bag, it'll pop out on you. But that doesn't mean that you have to get a new one, because all I do is, of course, I would scrape off some of the magnesium and then just hold this, put this down next to it, and then it'll still make sparks. So just because they're not attached doesn't mean it's not any good anymore. So if that does happen to you, keep them around. So that's usable. Even if I lose this piece, I can still use this piece. So that works out really well. Okay, well, let's put all this back in the bag real quick and I'll show you what's in the next pouch. Actually, I forgot. We're not doing a gear video. I'm just, well, part of that, but the main deal was to see how this bag held up. So let's see what kind of shape the pouch is in here. Zipper still works with no issues. It's got this little kind of plasticky layer to be a little bit more water resistant, but looks like it held up pretty good. Alright, now time for this next second outside pouch. Haven't had any problems with the ties that are on the zipper. This one goes halfway down the pouch, and this one here is water purification and some lights. Got the headlamp, got that from Walmart for pretty cheap. I got this one as a Christmas present. I don't keep batteries in these, because what I ran into is when I had batteries in it, I kept it in this pouch, but then something would hit the power button on the top. I'd hit it on both of them, and then they were just staying on while they were in the pouch, and when I needed them, they didn't work. So I do keep separate batteries. For this one, this takes little button batteries. This takes AAAs. I do keep those out of the headlamps and into a different section of the pack. That way, if I need them, I've got fresh batteries that I can put into them and I know they'll work. These here, since I wear glasses, old pair of BCGs, those are great. Goodness gracious. Hideous things. But never hurts to have a spare pair of those just in case my glasses get broke. Folding saw. There's a little water pouch. It goes with the Sawyer Mini water filter. That whole system here with the back flusher and the straw that come with it, that whole system is like 20 bucks at Walmart. Filters up to 100,000 gallons of water. So I always keep that with me. We've got here just a little multi-tool that I found in one of my dresser drawers. Zip ties, because you never know when you're going to need some zip ties. They come in handy for putting stuff on this molly gear and just for anything you might need. Let's see, you can also keep a compass, just a little cheap compass I got from Walmart years ago. 2 spare mags for my my pistol, 17 rounds each. Back here we got an old little Bible I got when I was going through basic. And then down in the bottom, keep a roll of duct tape. I just smushed it down, that way I could fit it in the bottom of the pouch and it wouldn't take up too much room. See, this one has some separated little slide-in pockets and then a big pocket behind that. And it's got all the MOLLE gear on the outside, the big loops as well as the small loops. It's done pretty good. Nothing's really cracked. The zippers still work just fine. The MOLLE's all good to go, not ripped up, not tore up. It's got these cinching straps on the side, and it also has this buckle that goes up and clicks around top, just to make sure everything stays where it's supposed to be. And also, if there's nothing in there, you can kind of cinches them down so they're not flopping around on you. Alright, now let's get down into the second compartment. Oh, also in that fire kit here, I also keep a spare pair of dog tags, just in case. Because you never know if you're going to be running around. Hold on. Never know if you're going to be running around and aren't going to have your wallet, or are just going to need to identify whose bag it is. So this one here goes most of the way, 2/3 of the way down the bag on the zippers. Then you open it up. There are my spare batteries for the headlamp, a bunch of AAAs, and then like 10 books of matches, just because that's how it was when my buddy gave it to me. Package of wet wipes. And then we've got some miscellaneous MRE stuff. These bags here, the beverage bags, are awesome for waterproof bags. And if you're going to be out and about, you can put your phone in there, you can put your wallet in there, and if you ever get access to one of these, put a little bit of air in it and then zip it up and then give it a squeeze and see how much pressure it takes to pop that sucker. So those are good not only for mixing stuff up, but you can also, mainly I just use them for waterproofing bags. And then I've also got that beverage powder, kind of like Gatorade powder. Because if you're out and about and you start getting kind of wore down, you get a little bit of rehydration and pick-me-up there. A little MRE accessory pack, coffee creamer, sugar, coffee, another book of matches, wet wipe, toilet paper, seasoning little packet. Those come in handy. I just save them from when I have MREs. So I've got the old flashlight here, elbow flashlight, that still works. It does have coffee gunk on it. A lot of this stuff does, because I had a little freeze-dried coffee that I stuck right here, the little Folgers container. I had it right here, and throughout the times of it bouncing around, the lid popped off of it and kind of covered everything in the gunk. Got an old e-tool, because that's actually come in handy a few times when I was at work and I needed to dig something out of the back of my truck, and I didn't have a shovel or anything, so I remembered, oh yeah, I got my e-tool in there. So I popped that out, put it all together, worked just fine. Then it packs down into that little deal. Another MRE accessory pack, and that's all for the bottom there. Then now right here I keep some kind of medical stuff. Let's get this out of here. Old flu and sinus stuff, because if you're out in a bad situation, or you're out on a job site, or you're camping or in the woods or something, and somebody comes down with something, this this will make it a lot more a lot less of a hassle. Because if you're going to be be sick, then you're just going to be miserable the whole time. So I keep some of that. These are instructions from let's see, wasn't that well. I also keep some ibuprofen. That's come in handy a few times. I was out and about and was getting a headache, so had some of that. See, that is the instructions for these anti-diarrheal pills, because Uh, if it was an SHTF situation, it's not always something that you eat or drink that'll make you uncomfortable. It's just the stress alone from being in a bad situation can mess up your stomach. And instead of putting the whole box in there, I took the medication out, and I thought, well, I still want to be able to have the dosage stuff, but I don't want to have the whole big old box in there. So I folded these up and stuck them in there, and then I just ripped off the back panel because that takes up no room at all. And then now I also have all of the dosages and what's in there and what it does and everything with the medicine, but without the bulk of having the entire box. So there's those. And then first aid, antibiotic ointment. It's good to have for cuts and scrapes and whatever else you need to kind of bandage up your wounds. I also have one of these. These are compression gauze, or compressed gauze. I got these years ago in the Army and figured I'd just throw them in there. I think they were in the med kit. So they're sealed up, they don't take up much space, and they can come in very handy. And in these little pouch right here, I have my water purification tablets, the iodine tablets. These are also very cheap in the camping section of Walmart. It's you've got your iodine tablets right here to clean your water, and then I've heard that they give your water a funky taste, so then they have these, which are neutralizing tablets. You let this sit in there for about 30 minutes to purify the water, and then you put these in there and let it sit for, I think it was 5 minutes, oh, maybe 30 minutes too. But yeah, however, it says it all on the bottle, but it takes away the flavor of these. So then it makes your water taste normal. Oh, yeah, that's a little messy. Got all the coffee down there, but for the most part, pouch is held up good. Zippers are still good. Haven't had any issues with the ties on the zipper. None of these pouches have been ripping or anything. I just need to clean it out. So let me get everything back in there. We'll move on to the next one. Alright, now this next pouch, the main pocket, the zippers go all the way down to the bottom of the deal so that it can just clamshell right on open. And you have your little pouch here, everything I've got in here. Keep an old PT cap in there, which has come in handy a few times on some cold mornings. Very, very nice. Those things are awesome. Then I also have some more MRE beverage powder. Wet weather top, rain gear, that has come in handy constantly since I put this bag together. I got an old boonie cap that I sprayed down with waterproofing stuff. That has come in handy many, many, many times. Wet weather pants, those have come in handy a few times. And then for backup, I have a poncho that somebody left in my truck that never came back to get it. So I've got a poncho in there that I can use for whatever, covering up gear. An old MRE heater, because those will come in handy if for some reason you aren't in a place where you can use your little fire stove there, or fire making stuff. Very handy deals. Now you can, with these, very carefully, you can use these as hand warmers. I wouldn't recommend it, but there were some times in training where it was extremely cold outside, and when I was done using this, I put it up in my chest pocket on one side of my uniform, and it kind of warmed me up a little bit. It will burn the crap out of you if you touch it too long, though, when it's too cold or when it's too hot. Another MRE accessory pack, and then I have another beverage bag. Let's see, this little zipper pocket in here, I keep some spare 550 cord. That's, I don't know how long, I just ripped off a big whole bunch of it, rounded up and put a zip tie on it. And that's it for stuff in that pouch. This pouch, all the nothing's ripped, haven't had any problems with the zippers, pocket's still good to go. Little string come out there. But still good. So I'm gonna put everything back in this one. Then over here on this side, of course, I got my my old canteen pouch. I keep this full of water. I'll rinse it out from time to time, every couple of months, and refill it. But between the Sawyer water filter and then the iodine tablets, a quart of water will do me good if I need it. And then down there in the bottom, I've got the canteen cup, which fits perfectly on that little stove. It does get a little dirty from carrying it around. You can see that gunk in the bottom there. That's just some dirt. But I can rinse that out and use it when I'm on the go. I don't keep my water purification tablets in this little pocket, which I think is what it's meant for, just because it's more exposed and they'll be hitting stuff, or that flap could come open, they could fall out, or maybe slip through one of these little side holes like that. So I figure it's just easier to keep them in there so I know where they are. It does have a cover on it, but I just tucked that inside and said screw it, so then I just use the strap here to hold it in. See, all of the Molly stuff, I haven't had any problems with it. The straps, however, they've got adjustments all over them to where you can adjust it on the bottom right here with that little slide deal. You can adjust it right there on the buckle, and it goes up, and then you can adjust it at the top. But with these top ones, I kept having problems. Whenever I'd pick it up, it would slide a little bit more out until eventually they popped out all the way. So I looped it back through the slider, and then I tied it to one of these D-rings. That way it cannot come out. And there's enough adjustment length on all of this to where I'm not going to have to adjust that top part. I've worn this just carrying it around, walking around with a t-shirt. I've had coats underneath it. I've even been out doing some stuff and had my body armor underneath it. So it definitely is fine for adjusting. It does have this little Velcro pocket here, which I don't think I have anything in. There was one guy that watched the videos and said, hey, you could go to Walmart and get some of those thin plastic cutting boards, cut them in half and slide them in there. That way it gives you a straighter, more rigid back on the pack, and then you would also have a cutting board for if you needed it. So I just never got around to doing that. I did the same thing on the strap over here so that it won't move. It does have one of those chest straps on it that can go around, and then it's got D-rings and all kinds of attachment points and whatnot on it. But that's the only problem I had with the straps, was just the adjustments sliding out. Got this knife over here that I found in a toolbox that I bought, and sharp as can be. It was just sitting in a toolbox and it didn't have a handle on it, so I just wrapped up a 550 cord. Don't ask me how I did it, because I don't remember. Most of this stuff I just wing it until I find a way that works. So that kind of lets me, if I drop it or something, it's got that bright orange handle so I can see it. And then it's looped up in a way to where all I got to do is kind of pull that knot out, and it'll all slide out and I can unwrap it if I need it. So that's a pretty handy deal there. Figured, hey, I didn't pay for it and it was in a toolbox, I'll throw it on there. I did use it once or twice for a machete, and it didn't chip at all, but I just attached it to the Molly with zip ties, and I haven't had any problems with it pulling off or coming loose or anything. Now the only real problem I've had with this pack is on the bottom. It's got these adjustment straps everywhere to where you can tighten everything in, and it did have one of these waist buckles, so you can transfer the load to your hips instead of your back. And over time, with putting it in and out of the truck every day, this little deal that holds the strap broke. Because I never use this belt, and I toss it into the truck, take it out of the truck, toss it into my personal truck, back and forth to my personal truck and work truck, and eventually this thing snapped off. But this bag has been with me just about every single day, to and from work, if I'm going somewhere, if we're traveling somewhere, if we're going camping, little training exercises I've been to. It's been thrown around, rolled around, it's gotten wet. It's not waterproof, so keep in mind that water can leak through zippers and stuff, because you can spray it down with anything you want, but over time that stuff will probably rub off. But even with those being waterproof, they'll probably still seep in through the zippers. But all in all, not bad for a bag that I got for 30 bucks off eBay, that I'm pretty sure is just some off-brand since it was so cheap. So it just kind of goes to show you don't have to get one of those high-dollar Maxpedition packs or any of the name brand stuff you see on a lot of these channels. Everything in here was cheap. It was gear that I either already had from military days, or it was just cheap stuff that I got from just online, or what do they call those places? The military supply shop. Everything in the fire pouch was cheap. Everything in here was cheap. I think maybe the most expensive thing I have in here is like the E-tool and the Sawyer water filter, which were 20 bucks a piece. So it's definitely a low budget option, and it hasn't given me any problems. It's got plenty of space, as long as you know how to maximize your space and pack everything in there. So it'll definitely work. So after one full year of carrying the bag and everything in it, a lot of the stuff I haven't needed, but at least I've had it with me if I did need it. I use it for what my daughter calls my potato bag, because when she was little, she didn't know how to say tornado. So if I hear there's supposed to be some bad weather, I make sure this thing stays extra close to me, because if something happens and I'm out somewhere, this is everything that I should need to get to a different point to where I can either hunker down or make my way back home. So after a full year with cheap equipment, cheap gear, in and out of trucks, thrown around and all abused, everything has worked out well, and the bag is in perfect shape still. So yeah, that's about all I got. So I'm gonna get back to it. Y'all be good.